Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
6:35. Come back to your calls in just a few moments. First,
well, they didn't do well with President Obama. He'd never got a lot of things done, and he didn't get a trade deal done that was of any importance or magnitude.
the Vice President, J.D. Vance, said there was a good chance that a trade deal could be reached with the UK as the dust continues to settle from America's global trade shake-up. Simon Marks is LBC's Washington correspondent. We've been here before, Simon, with people saying, yes, we're very close now, yes, we're very close now, and never quite happening. Afternoon.
Afternoon to you, Tom. We have indeed been here before, but it is interesting to be hearing this from Vice President J.D. Vance because, first of all, on its merits, I mean, he says that the two governments are working very hard. The President really loves the United Kingdom. He loved the Queen. He admires and loves the King. It's a very important relationship. He talks about a cultural affinity between the United States and the UK. And this is the same J.D. Vance who, of course, was recently excoriating the UK for what he claimed was a backsliding position with regard to free speech in Britain. So to hear this from J.D. Vance suggests that there is some kind of progress being made. We don't know how full-scale an agreement this is going to be. Certainly the UK government has not been referring to it as a free trade agreement, but rather as an economic cooperation pact between the two countries. And we don't know, for example, whether it's going to see the 25% tariffs that are currently in place on steel exports to the United States from the UK, very relevant following the Prime Minister's action over British steel last weekend, whether those are going to be lifted as part of any agreement. But the fact that J.D. Vance in this interview refers specifically to the fact that Britain enjoys a more reciprocal trading relationship with the US than Germany and other EU nations also suggests that the Trump government sees an opportunity here to drive a bit of a wedge between London and Brussels by offering Britain a better deal than the president is expected to offer, if he offers any deal at all, to the European Union.
We have talked a lot, for obvious reasons, about what has been the effect of the Trump tariffs for Europe and America and internally within America. What more do we know about what effect these tariffs are having in China and with the relationship between America and China?
Well, I mean, China is now, of course, the major target of Donald Trump's trade war. Not the only target. I mean, it wasn't a complete U-turn that he made. He's still got 10% tariffs in place on the rest of the world. It has sent the cost of doing business between the two countries soaring because President Xi Jinping is matching every Trump tariff percentage point for percentage point. So you're well above 100% tariffs in both directions in terms of bilateral trade. And we're in this extraordinary moment now where Donald Trump says he covets a telephone conversation with Xi Jinping to try and resolve all of this. But the US says the Chinese have to request that conversation. They insist that President Xi needs to be the first one to blink. And if you know anything about how China operates, China is just not going to do business that way. So for 2 months now, Trump officials have been saying to Beijing, come on, ask us for a call. And the Chinese have resolutely been insisting that they will do no such thing as Xi Jinping describes Donald Trump's economic policy as a joke and indicates that the United States is, you know, a vandal on the world stage. So how that they are eventually going to get to a position where that kind of basic communication happens is going to be the big question with regard to the future of the trade war between Washington and Beijing. And of course, there are massive impacts of all of that on the rest of us.
Simon, as always, really appreciate it. Simon Marks, LBC's Washington correspondent. You can hear his absolutely excellent American Week on the show Fridays at 10 to 6.